Hello, you're listening to E-Bible Fellowship's new Open Forum Excerpts, and now we present the following excerpt.
Welcome to our question and answer program. Please go ahead with your call.
Hi, Chris. Can you go to 2 Kings 25, verse 22 to 26?
2 Kings 25, starting in verse 22. And as for the people that remain in the land of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had left, even over them he made Gedaliah the son of Ahikam, the son of Shaphan, ruler. And when all the captains of the armies, they and their men, heard that the king of Babylon had made Gedaliah governor, there came to Gedaliah to Mizpah even Ishmael the son of Nethaniah, and Johanan the son of Kareah, and Seraiah the son of Tanhumeth the Netophathite, and Jaazaniah the son of a Maacathite, they and their men. And Gedaliah sware to them and to their men, and said unto them, Fear not to be the servants of the Chaldees, dwell in the land, and serve the king of Babylon, and it shall be well with you. But it came to pass in the 7th month that Ishmael, the son of Nethaniah, the son of Elishama of the seed royal, came, and 10 men with him, and smote Gedaliah, that he died, and the Jews and the Chaldees that were with him at Mizpah. And all the people, both small and great, and the captains of the armies arose and came to Egypt, for they were afraid of the Chaldees.
His name means Jehovah is great, or Yah is great, and his father's name.
Which one? Gedaliah?
Gedaliah, yeah. And his father's, it's my brother, brother of rising. Is Gedaliah reminds me of Jeremiah, but except this person dies. Even though also this person is appointed ruler by Nebuchadnezzar. Was he also a prophet like Jeremiah? Because he does tell them the same thing about leaving and going into captivity.
Well, actually, Gedaliah was governor in Judah, so he didn't go to captivity, and he was more instrumental in keeping people in the land of Judah because God commanded them to go into captivity. And he was a puppet ruler for the Babylonians, so he would probably identify with those who stayed in the churches. And when the people heard that he was governor, some of the army came out of the fields and returned, and it just went bad. It went bad because once God ended the church age, there's no other option other than to get out of the church. And here it even uses the language of the remnant, the remnant, and the remnant, the soldiers who came out of the field. When we read the book of Jeremiah, they sound so faithful. When they come to Jeremiah, I believe after Gedaliah is killed, and they want to know, what shall we do? What shall we do? And they come to Jeremiah, and Jeremiah tells them they have to go into captivity. But actually, they come to Jeremiah, and Jeremiah goes to the Lord, and the Lord doesn't answer Jeremiah for 10 days. And so there's a 10-day space where this tragedy has happened, and they are afraid. The Babylonians are on their way to destroy them because, the Babylonians would look at this as like an insurrection or a definite, assault on their power, and who knows what they would do. But they're looking on it that the Babylonians are getting closer and closer and closer. So that 10-day period, God is testing them. And by the end of the 10 days, then the Lord tells Jeremiah, tell them to remain in the land. And the implication is they'll be taken into captivity. They will go into captivity, If they won't die if they stay there, but the Babylonians will carry them into captivity. And then they tell Jeremiah, you speak falsely. You do not speak in the name of the Lord. And they refuse to hearken. And their rebelliousness finally surfaces. It's what I think of these people who are identified as the remnant. They're the poor of the land, the remnant, but they stay in the land of Judah. It's like the Reformed churches. The Reformed churches who make the claim they're the last remnant of faithfulness in the churches. In the Reformed churches, a lot of them understand the apostasy that had overtaken the rest of the church, and yet they were the ones who were going to remain and be faithful, and yet God reveals their heart as well in these chapters of Jeremiah, because finally it gets to the point where they start defending their worship of the Queen of Heaven. When our wives offered, these things to the Queen of Heaven, we didn't have such trouble. We had good crops or whatever they were saying. And say their rebelliousness finally could be seen. And same thing with the churches and congregations, the Reformed churches who give lip service to like election and predestination and those kinds of things. And God revealed their character when he came forth, when the Lord brought forth the teaching of the faith of Christ, and that salvation is completely 100% of the Lord, and a sinner doesn't do anything. You don't believe election, then act like a Arminian, which is what they teach in Reformed seminary. They say now you believe like a Calvinist, but you preach like an Arminian. And no wonder people were so confused. And they're just as wicked, if not more wicked, this remnant, than the ones who were very obviously apostate in the land of Judah. It's the same thing with the churches. Those in the Reformed congregations, they're not as noble or as honorable as they would have people believe. No, not at all. Not at all. Or they wouldn't have remained. They wouldn't have stayed in the church when God ended the church age and commanded all, go out to the world, go to Babylon. And there's just no getting around that command of God. It was a command 100% to all people in all churches everywhere.
Thanks for watching. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. That way you don't miss any upcoming videos.